Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Gabe and Shey Podcast. My name is Gabe.
I'm Shey.
And today we're going to be doing something a little bit different. We're going to be doing something exciting, spontaneous, and basically kind of to get our reactions to questions that are kind of random, right? So we decided to create a topic, and today's topic is going to be the funny thing about motivation, all right? And we're going to ask these random questions about this topic that we're just going to answer based on our life, based on your life. And then I'm just like tagging along. No. Yikes. So based on our life, and however we answer it. And hopefully it's going to be maybe a little bit educational, maybe funny.
Well, I mean, it is the funny thing about motivation.
It is the funny thing about motivation. So you ready for the first question?
I'm ready for hilarity.
Hilarity inbound. Here we go. Question number one is, what is the funniest thing you've tried to motivate yourself that completely backfired?
Oh.
The funniest thing that you've tried to motivate yourself that completely backfired. I'm like really thinking about this.
Turning off my alarm and getting out of bed.
What?
Completely backfired. I wanted to go back to sleep.
Yeah, there's nothing really funny about this, I don't think. But in order to get to when I first started my morning routine, okay, so I was gun ho. I was like, this thing's gonna kick ass, and in the end, it did. In the end, when I started it 10 years ago, but when I first started, no way. It completely backfired. I ended up getting, I'm going to get up at 5 a.m. No, it was like 6:30.
But look at you now.
I know. Today, it's like, it is absolutely, it worked now, but it definitely didn't work back then. And I think that was just crazy. I had anticipation. I was like, it's going to be so great. And it just was dog crap at the beginning. But that's a kind of a reminder though, is that just because it doesn't work right away, doesn't mean it's not working.
Right. Something about it in that equation isn't working, but it doesn't mean the whole thing isn't working.
Right. And so today, because of that morning routine, my life has completely changed for the better.
Yeah.
I'm a better human being today than I ever have been in my life. And I give tons of credit to that morning routine.
Well, that answer was the complete opposite of backfiring.
I thought
it didn't backfire at all. In fact,
it did at the beginning.
It helped to pivot you.
It totally did at the beginning. I think I answered it fairly. Thank you. Number two is, why do motivational speeches and videos often feel so cheesy, yet we still watch them?
Oh, I like this question.
Yeah. What do you got?
Well, okay, so if you get right down to it, motivational speeches make us feel good on some level, right? At least that's their intention. Okay. And if we're absorbing it and we're hearing the message, we're probably getting some sort of inspiration from it. But maybe that inspiration makes us feel a little bit vulnerable, or
now we're talking,
or like easily influenced or fooled, or maybe we think we're being fooled.
That's a great way to put that. And I think another way too is having your peers around you. So when you're listening to a motivational speech and you're around other people that are listening to your motivational speech, it's a little bit easier. But if you're by yourself, you might think it's cheesy because of how people might look at you, right? There's a great skit in Saturday Night Live.
How people might look at you, like if you respond well to it.
Yeah. If you're like, oh man, I'm totally motivated now. People are like, dude, get a job.
Right.
do something different. Right. You're not pleasing me right now. There's an old Saturday Night Live skit that was, I don't remember who did it. I don't remember his name. Early Saturday Night Live. And he'd go to the mirror and he'd be like, I'm amazing. I am wonderful, and gosh darn it, I'm somebody. He'd say that into a mirror, and he'd be all serious. People like me, yeah, those kind of things. And it was funny. It was very easy to make fun of that because we might look at people that need motivational speaking as being less than. Right?
Yeah, like why don't they already have that inside of them to pull out of them? But also I think we don't want to be gullible, right?
Yeah,
like
sure.
We want to believe in something so amazing and that sounds awesome and I want that, but am I being gullible by thinking that I could possibly achieve that or have it?
I will say that motivational speeches and inspirational speeches have changed my life. And I'd like to think that I wasn't very gullible. I do know that today, whatever gullibility I had is gone. I just see the world just more clearly now. And again, I can go back to inspirational speeches as being one of the factors of that.
Right. Because what's the worst thing that's going to happen to you if you listen to a motivational speech?
You might get better.
You might feel better. You might advance in some way in your life. You might start treating others better. You might, all of these are mights, right? I'm not saying that just because you listen to a motivational speech, these things are going to happen.
Right.
But what's the worst thing that's going to happen? You might become a better person.
People might think you're stupid. There's always that. There's always that.
Only if you tell people what you're doing.
Yeah. As somebody who wants to become an inspirational speaker, I guess I am an inspirational speaker today. I have done that. Yeah. I on the other side of it, my true wish is to help anybody that hears the speech, and to help them just maybe become better. And it's not that I think they need to become better. It's an opening for them to become better if they want to. And so, that's a good question, actually.
Yeah, I like that one.
All right, so here's number 3. What's one motivation myth that you've completely stopped believing? One motivation myth that you've completely stopped believing. Right?
I mean, if it's motivational, I probably got something out of it somewhere.
I'm trying to think of something motivational that
maybe when they tell you just to
stop believing.
Maybe just to wait for motivation to strike.
No, I've never been motivated that way.
No, I'm saying like if they're saying just wait for it to happen. Just there's no waiting about it, in my opinion.
I think maybe any motivational speech on how to buy timeshares, I completely stopped believing.
Well, that's not a motivational speech. That's a promotional advertisement in person.
They do use motivational speech in order to get you to buy it. And I think that's one of the caveats. A lot of multi-level marketing does that as well.
Yeah.
Multi-level marketing, they kind of suck you in by giving you all of this motivational speaking, this, you're going to be a hero. And some of them do a really good job of actually building people. And one of our mottos is we build people. That's our thing. But unfortunately, the multi-level marketing thing is not for everybody.
Yeah.
There's some people that are just super good at it, and there's some people that just aren't. And I would say for me, that motivational speaking in the multi-level marketing, I'm not a big fan of that. Not a big fan of that.
Well, because that kind of motivational speaking it feels more about filling the pocketbooks rather than actually just improving people organically.
That's a great way to put that too, right? Almost like you can see through some of the charlatans. We could see through some of the people that are just after your wallet. Yeah, that's a really good way to put that.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever laughed yourself into action? How did that happen?
Like every day. I mean, if we're being honest, I frequently, so I worked with a personal trainer before we moved to where we are now. And she made a comment one day because it was just me and her, and she was pushing me to my limits. And I was like laughing hysterically. And she goes, I've noticed that when you are about to give up, you start laughing. She goes, that's your way of getting through it.
Isn't that interesting? So I just told you yesterday, the day before. So I went and I got a massage. Okay. And I went and I got a massage, and this is the first time this has ever happened to me. However, she was just beating me up. It hurt. It started to hurt so bad that I started to laugh uncontrollably. And I didn't like go hysterical, but I started to laugh, and I was like, why am I laughing right now? This hurts so much. And it happened twice, once on my shoulder, once on my legs. And I was like, oh my gosh, is this like a new level? Did I achieve a level?
Well, like she would tell me like whenever I would start laughing, she'd go, okay, stop, take a deep breath, stop laughing. Get it together and keep going.
That's kind of fantastic. Laughing yourself into action.
But yeah,
I would say that I've laughed myself to get away from it. So if I'm laughing at myself, I've humiliated myself in public or something like that. I may have laughed at myself and then left the scene. So the action that I took was I left the scene.
Yeah.
But in those moments, though, I still was able to laugh at myself because you know what? If you can't laugh at yourself, give up.
Yeah.
Just give up. Don't give up. Don't give up. What motivational cliches do you secretly enjoy despite their silliness?
Okay.
Let's go.
So you made a comment yesterday and I was like, I am feeling personally attacked right now.
I said that?
No, you said something that made me say that to you.
Okay.
Because you were talking about the cheesiness of power of positive thinking.
Oh, sure.
And I am a firm believer in the power of positive thinking. And that doesn't mean that just because you think positively, your life is going to be all peachy and roses, right? That's not what that's about for me. What it is, though, is choosing to see the good side or the benefits of everything in some way, shape, or form. Even if you think there are no benefits, try to find that. And you actually promote that a lot with gratitude.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So for me, it's the power of positive thinking that, I can choose to look at hitting every red light as something terrible, or I can choose to look at it as, okay, this is an opportunity for me to actually stop and think for a second or whatever.
Yeah. Or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that every single challenge, and one of the things that I challenge my clients to do is anytime they have a challenge or a problem, remember, just a little distinction for you. Problem means that I have something to complain about. I have a problem. A challenge is I have something to overcome. So there's a huge difference between those two words. I really challenge you to use the word challenge instead of problem. Yeah. Okay. But if we've got a challenge or a problem and you are unable to find three functional takeaways of learning from it, which I'm on it now. So anytime something happens, I immediately go to that. You could look at that as the power of positive thinking. Because what I'm doing is I'm not letting the negative aspect of the situation affect my focus. I'm choosing my focus. And my focus in this particular case is going to be, what functionally did I learn from this? What three things can I take away and actually utilize the next time I'm in this predicament?
Yep. Yeah, you're choosing the filter with which you choose to see that situation to begin with, which is going to then help facilitate you to see those three benefits which
is definitely the power of positive thinking.
Yeah, it doesn't mean nothing bad is going to happen to you.
No.
It just means that it's a different mindset of how you're going to see everything and filter everything.
Correct. But I'm a realist. I'm a realist, and I know I can look. If you say you're a realist, it means it's an excuse because you can't find things. You cannot find things to be grateful out of a challenge.
Well, no, I kind of disagree with that because a realist understands that yes, there is negativity in the world, and there's a lot of it.
But so does somebody that finds functionality out of challenge.
Right. So a realist, I think, is just expressing that they're seeing both sides of it. I see both sides of it too, even with the power of positive thinking. I just choose not to allow that negative side of it to control me or to dictate the rest of my day or hour or whatever that situation is. Well, at least I try. I fail all the time, but I try.
Okay. Well, if you do say you're a realist, you are claiming an identity, and it's also a justification for your perception.
What about those of us who say we're an optimist? Well, isn't that an identity?
I think optimism falls into the territory of I'm optimistic about what the future holds, means that the law of impermanence is real. Everything changes. Okay. Everything changes. And I choose to focus on the benefits of what has happened instead of what's the opposite of benefits?
The negative, I don't know. Negative is stuck in my head.
Everybody is answering. Whoever's listening to the Power podcast right now, they're
put it
like,
in the comments.
Yeah, put it in the comments. This is live. Anyways, so that's what I think about that.
Okay.
All right. If motivation doesn't last, what's your go-to strategy for sustained action?
Well, I feel like we're both going to say the same thing, so maybe I should let you answer first.
What? No. Ladies first, please.
So did you say sustained action?
Sustained, yeah. So if motivation doesn't last, what's your go-to strategy for sustained action?
Habit.
Oh.
Yeah, I knew. See, that's why I said you should go first. Well, but here's the other thing too, right? It's okay to psych yourself out or psych yourself in or up or whatever. So use it in a good way. I had somebody tell me once that when your alarm goes off, don't allow yourself to negotiate. There's no negotiation.
I told her that.
Well, it wasn't just you. You are one of the people who said that. I want to name the person because she cracks me up when she said it, but there's no negotiating. It's the alarm goes off, you get up, period. You don't have a choice because you already made the choice.
Tony Robbins said, you don't negotiate with your own mind. Go ahead.
And you made the choice the night before. When you set your alarm for that time, you already made that decision.
Yeah.
So when it goes off, get up.
Yeah. And if motivation doesn't last, what's your go-to strategy for sustained action? So she talked about habit, and I want to talk about willpower. So willpower is your ability to create action from nothing, okay, out of nothing. That's willpower. You have to use willpower to do that. And a similar way to look at that is when a rocket leaves the Earth's atmosphere, it takes so much fuel. And I believe it's like 80 or 90% of the fuel used in a rocket is actually used in the getting out of Earth's atmosphere, because once you get into space, you only need 10% of that fuel left to navigate in space because the gravity is so much less, right? So for habits, it's kind of the same thing. At the beginning, when you're trying to sustain that motivation, you've got to use your willpower. Yeah. And if you're fatigued, guess what? You don't have willpower. It's just not going to be there. You really actually have to summon energy units to pay for willpower. That's what it costs.
Yeah.
If you don't have energy units, willpower is going to go down the hill. So instead, your goal is to build habits. And at the beginning, it's going to take willpower. It's going to take a lot of willpower over and over and over and over again. That's the practice part. That's doing the reps. As you do the reps, then eventually you're going to start to exit Earth's atmosphere, and you're going to start to feel less and less gravitational pull towards the old you of what you used to be.
That's because you'll be suffocating to death in space's lack of atmosphere.
So you won't have to worry about much. You'll be dying for oxygen.
There you go.
So the willpower part is the sustainability, and it means that as we use that, you're going to use willpower at first to sustain it, that motivation, which will eventually turn into habit that will help sustain it overall. Yeah. So
I love it.
Yeah, me too. What's the weirdest motivation tactic you've ever heard or tried yourself?
I mean, the whole like making faces at yourself in the mirror and like reciting stuff and whatever, that kind of stuff always cracks me up, and I've never quite been able to get into it. I mean, I do once in a while, but like staring into your own soul in the mirror, I don't know. That's a tough one for me.
So this falls into a territory of like hokeyism, okay? And what might seem cheesy or hokey. And the truth is that the successful people out there are doing the hokey shit, everybody. And the successful people out there are not afraid of being a little bit hokey, of not afraid of being vulnerable to themselves. There's one of the things that I learned a while ago, and I've implemented into my life, and they're called I am statements. And an I am statement is a way to shift your identity. And before you go hokey pokey on me, let me explain how this works, because I need to share with you how absolutely magical this is. I smoked for 19 and a half years.
Oh,
don't get me started. I smoked cigarettes for 19 and a half years, and I smoked 2.5 packs a day. If you can conceptualize that, that's a lot of cigarettes. All right. Back when I was roofing and construction, I just did. It's what I did. And I wanted to quit smoking. Now I don't call it quit anymore, but at that time I wanted to quit smoking. Okay. And so the easiest way, what I figured out through learning, education, imagine that, through education, I learned that the primary reason why people can't escape smoking is because their subconscious pulls them back into smoking each time they try to quit. Your subconscious is like your thermostat, okay? If you set your thermostat to 70, no matter if you open a window, it's going to kick back on and bring you back to 70. If you start a fire in the house, it's going to kick back on and bring it down to 70. Whatever your thermostat is set to, your forward thinking and actions will always bring you back. Smoking's the same way. I identified as a smoker, okay? I thought to myself, I am a smoker. That's just who I am.
Right.
I want to quit. I know it's bad for me, but I'm a smoker. I mean, that's what I do. So I'm going to quit, even though I think I'm a smoker. So I've got my forward thinking I'm going to quit. I got my backward thinking that I'm a smoker. So you have to change what your thermostat does. And one of the easiest ways to do that is I am statements.
You see how you brought that full around?
All the way around. And so what I wrote, so I did it verbally, and I wrote it down every day, and I wrote it down almost 20 times a day. In those little books, I put it 20 times. And all it said was, I am a non-smoker. Over and over and over again, all the way down. I am a non-smoker all the way down. I did that for about 4 months. Mm-hmm. And when I flicked my last cigarette, I smoked the shit out of that last cigarette. I really did. And when I flicked it, it was the last. I said to myself, I will never smoke cigarettes again, ever.
Yep.
And I haven't. And not only that, but it was the easiest thing I've ever done. Laying that on the ground became super easy for me because I had already reset my thermostat.
Yep.
I had a new identity. I'm a non-smoker. Today, I don't even think, in my mind, that person doesn't even exist.
Yeah. It's so wild.
That's how powerful it is. Doesn't even exist.
Yep.
But it really happened. I really did smoke, and it's so mind-boggling. So for those of you that think I am statements are kooky, have fun with that. Have fun with that. I'm going to go make magic, and you guys do what you're doing. Were you going to say something on
I don't think so.
Oh, okay.
No.
Yeah, I kind of talked a lot on that one. So
it's okay.
Hopefully I don't answer this next one like that. Can humor be more effective than traditional motivation?
Heck yeah.
Why or why not?
Oh, that was a 2-part question. I answered too soon.
Yeah, you're like, yes, I'm done.
Well, so yes. And interestingly enough, I used to work in advertising, and there have been many studies and research, groups done that people respond to humor and laughter.
Yeah.
More than anything else, more than the pull of the emotion, more than the serious,
I don't know.
More than the logic.
Those AT&T commercials.
I'm just saying, so people, if you can make somebody laugh, they are more likely to hear what you're saying and follow along or take your advice or ask you for insight or those types of things, because laughter is hugely motivating.
Yeah.
Even if you don't realize it and you're forward thinking.
I think so too. It's one of my areas where you mentioned that I'm funny, but I actually don't think that I'm very funny. And, I think my effect comes from my seriousness.
Funny, you're witty. You're super witty.
You're right, Gabe. You're not funny, but you're witty.
You're super witty and clever, which does translate into funny because you crack me up all the time.
It's the face. It's the face. No, witty's one thing, but being able to use humor to effectively deliver a message, I don't think that I'm necessarily really good at that, because delivering a message to me is preemptive. It's proactive. I've already prepared the message. I'm delivering it to you. How do I do it in a humorous way? And I'm working on that. That's something that I want to be better at, because I think it's, like you said, it's incredibly powerful to laugh through that.
Yeah.
You remember the movie Patch Adams?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Robin Williams.
Yeah. And healing through laughter was the movie's theme, if I remember right. Healing through laughter. And it was based on a true story. And so there is something to say about whether or not humor could be more effective.
Yeah. Well, we used to run multiple ads. So a single company would place maybe 4 ads throughout the magazine.
Yeah.
And on any given week, and one would be a super serious ad. One would just be stating the facts. One would be a really funny ad. Yeah. One would be whatever. And it was always the funny ads that got the most response.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah.
Isn't that interesting?
And think about it. When you're talking with your family or friends, what commercials are you talking about? The ones that made you laugh.
Yeah.
Or the ones that made you gasp in horror.
Yeah.
But the ones that made you laugh, you're like, oh my gosh, I got to tell you what I saw.
Yeah. So emotion, anytime you got a heightened emotion, and laughter is a heightened emotion. Anytime you have a heightened emotion, it actually imprints the memory more on. So the recipe for a memory is an event and an emotion. An event and an emotion. Okay. Both those things need to happen for it to be a long-term memory. So yeah, humor is a great way to instill that. I'll have to figure out how to use that.
Yeah.
All right.
You could totally make humor your thing.
Yeah, I should, shouldn't I? When I learn it, I will. Do you think being overly serious about goals can hurt motivation, and how? I like this one.
I mean, the answer to anything is, yeah, there's a possibility of it, but overly serious. Help me.
Yeah. Okay. So I actually have something to say about this one, but it's going to be a little bit weird, because in my mind, I am not a goal type person. Okay. She keeps checking that because of technical difficulty. Don't worry. She won't do it again.
Well,
no, I'm just kidding.
Then wrap it up. I'm kidding. Totally kidding.
I've decided that I'm not a goal person. I'm a journey person. And what that means is that the destination is not as important as learning to enjoy the journey. All right. And it means that I'm not going to be happy when I'm going to be happy now.
I am happy.
Okay. And so when it comes to goals, I think goals are probably one of the most important things you can ever do in your entire life. And now,
otherwise, why are you here?
But getting seriously granular with the goals is, I don't think, as necessary. You do need to reverse engineer some goals to understand how to conceptually get to the goal. Okay. You might not even understand how to get there. And until you break it down reverse engineer wise, that's the way you're going to get there. Now, if it's a team, I think a team's a little bit different. I think a team needs goals, but individually, I think it's more, how do I effectively be just a kick-ass journeyman? How do I become a kick-ass hiker up this path to wherever that destination is?
Yeah.
So I have two things, mastery, that I have goals of. I want to be a master of my body, and I want to be a master of my mind. I will never get to these places, and I'm okay with that. But it's the direction that I'm heading every single day, and that's what I'm getting there. Now, if I didn't have that goal in mind, I'd have no direction.
Right. Yeah.
And then, the seriousness about goals too is like the reticular activating system. Did you want to speak on that?
No, it's a kind of a weird question. I think the way it's worded is a little bit weird because if you're not taking your goals seriously to begin with, you're maybe less likely to even strive for it. But taking it too seriously, like expensing all else around you or something like that. I think that could be detrimental to the rest of your life.
Maybe.
I'm not sure if that's what the question was asking, but.
No, but there's some successful people out there that would say that getting granular with goals will get you what you want. And so, and then there's the other side that are also successful. So it's a kind of, where are you going with it?
Yeah.
What is one motivational strategy you regularly use but hesitate to admit? Crickets. Do we have a cricket sound? It's like,
power of positive thinking. Like,
motivational strategy.
Law of attraction.
Hesitate to admit.
I don't think I hesitate to admit it, though. I don't think
there's one that I hesitate to admit either. I don't feel, for all you cuckooies out there, I don't feel weird when I'm doing this stuff. So I've gotten past that. That's not a big deal to me anymore. So I do I am statements every day. I do affirmations every day. I journal every day. I'm not afraid to admit it. I do all of those things and more, actually.
Yeah. I don't think there's any that I'm afraid to admit to, but yeah.
Well, go ahead and admit it then.
The power of positive thinking.
Okay. That's one.
Law of attraction. And again, it doesn't mean that you're going to get everything that you want. It doesn't mean the universe is just going to hand things to you.
Oh, I'm afraid that's how it works.
But the law of attraction to me is it's going to encourage you to strive toward those goals more. If that's really what you're trying to attract, then you are more likely to do the things that are going to bring those things into existence in your life than if you didn't want those things to begin with.
That's right. You're going to become attractive to whatever it is that you want.
Well, thank you.
How do you become attractive? How do you become attractive? Share it with everyone.
First, I pull my mask out of the closet.
All right. That was a good one. All right. And then this will be our last one.
Okay.
Can laughing at yourself ever be better motivation than inspiration?
Never. No, don't laugh at yourself.
Yeah. That's a horrible thing to do to yourself. Really. You like beating yourself up?
No, I laugh at myself all the time, not always outwardly to other people, but frequently also I laugh at myself in front of other people because my entire life is me feeling awkward. And so if I don't laugh at myself, then, it's just somebody else is going to do it. So I might as well join in.
So this will take a little serious note here at the end. So when I was a kid, today I have Tourette syndrome. And when I was a kid, I had to deal with that quite a bit inside of school. I was made fun of, I was beat up, I was bullied, all the bullshit. And, but one of the very first lessons that I think got me through all of that crap was being able to laugh at myself.
Yeah.
And so as I was able to laugh at myself and just be like, and it's almost like, it was almost like I fit in with everyone if I was laughing at the same person they were all laughing at. However, that has done more for me in being vulnerable and in front of people.
Yeah.
In regards to, I'm not afraid to like, oh, well, that was an idiot move. and I'll say that aloud to everyone. It doesn't bother me anymore. And I attribute it to that experience when I was a kid. So
yeah, I didn't learn the gift of laughing at myself until more recently in my life. I also got teased and bullied and made fun of as a kid, and I took it to heart. I took it very seriously. I was very hurt by a lot of it.
Yeah.
And I did not enjoy laughing at myself. I felt like that was a bad thing. It was a weakness.
Yeah.
And now as an adult, like as kids, yes, we do laugh at each other, right?
Sure.
We do enjoy making fun of others. But as an adult, it's unless you've got really crappy people in your life, nobody's rooting against you. Nobody's laughing at you, and really nobody's paying as much attention to you as you think they are, because they're so busy paying attention to themselves.
Yes, they are. They are doing nothing but watching every move I make.
Right. No, I heard something the other day about people aren't seeing you with the reality that you think that they are.
Isn't that interesting?
They're seeing you with their reality, which may be half blind.
Oh yeah.
To the reality you think you're projecting.
Yeah. They don't have the same references.
Yeah.
All right. This has been fun. I like this. We're going to do more of this random kind of questions on a topic thing and just answering them on the fly. Okay. Hopefully we're going to get funnier. And
I'm not a very funny person.
I like laughing at you. Anyways. But yeah, if you like what you see, please like us, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We always appreciate things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my name is Gabe.
I'm Shey.
Thanks for watching.
Bye.